it's Lee from colouringqueen.net, and today I'm going to colour in Johannas' Christmas colouring book. I'm going to use a limited colour palette because that's what I feel like lately. Don't feel like using all of those colours. I don't know, I'm finding it very stressful to choose colours at the moment, and just the one colour family or the limited colour is making me happy. So I thought we'd colour this in with my Schifferfarben pencils, and I'll also be using my Prismacolor white pencil because I really feel like it is much better than the Schifferfarben white pencil. It's funny because the rest of the pencils go on really easily and they're just so lovely to work with, and I think one day I'll have to buy the 96 set. I've still got the 72 set, but the white pencil just doesn't do it for me. So I thought I'd choose like these blues and greens, and that's actually the colour that's on my Christmas tree at the moment. And yeah, I just thought that might be reflective of what I've decorated in this year, and I thought it'd look nice, limited colour family. So they're the Schifferfarben pencils from the 72 set and the white Prismacolor. We might add some sparkles at the end. We'll see how we feel. So I hope you're having a good day. It is actually Christmas Day here in Australia, and I had hoped to get this video up earlier, but my audio didn't turn out, so I'm redoing it on Christmas morning. And I'm on the naughty list because Santa did not come. I don't know what I do to that guy. I really don't know, but he never seems to make an appearance. I've got to get one of those signs that say Santa stop here. So I hope wherever you are that you're having a lovely day, and if you're celebrating Christmas this year, that you have a wonderful Christmas. It's a strange Christmas, this one, very unusual. I know here in Brisbane I've been trying for weeks to get all sorts of crockery and serving platters, etc., because David's family were coming up, and the shops have sold out of Christmas stuff. It's just amazing because usually that stuff is all left after Christmas, and in the past I've got some great things at the sales. Unfortunately they're all in storage, but in the past I've managed to get loads of decorations and whatnot. But I couldn't believe it. Here the shops have been so busy and all the Christmas stuff was gone well before the week before Christmas. No Christmas baubles, nothing. So luckily I've had enough baubles, etc., to decorate the tree, because most of our things are still in storage. So luckily I had enough, and the tree looks pretty good, and pop some lights on it and she looks nice. But we've got a tree that's a green one, and it's got like these little crystals on it, on the ends of it, that look like snow. But these little crystal things, they keep falling off on the floor. I think they want me to be their full-time housekeeper because I'm just constantly vacuuming them up. I don't think there'll be anything left of it next year. I was waiting for Millie actually to play with the baubles or jump up in the tree like other cats do, but she seems to want to sit below it and be a present. And by the way, if you love Millie, which I know many of you do, and ask about her, I popped some pictures on Instagram of her the other day in a little elf hat I'd bought her. She really didn't like it, so we only got a couple of photos out of it before she pulled it off, and she was not happy. I don't know how some people manage to get their pets to dress up in outfits, but she certainly is not going to. But so we had the whole Christmas thing planned. I think I mentioned last time, or maybe the time before, that David's family were coming up, which was, really something to look forward to. They live interstate and we haven't seen them for a year. And as most of you know, we don't really know anyone up here, and haven't seen them for a year. And in the meantime, we've missed a wedding because it was interstate with David's niece. She got married a couple of weeks ago, and luckily she Facebooked it and live streamed some of these reception. So we felt like we were there, but we didn't get to see the ceremony. But they looked really happy and really in love, and of course they had to have restrictions on their wedding and all the rest of it, so it wasn't quite the wedding that they wanted, but at least they're married and happy. So unfortunately, David's family had booked this whole trip here and got the plane tickets and some side trips planned, and I'd been really working this menu because David's mum has a restricted diet, and also she's a bit fussy, and so been really trying to work out what to cook for Christmas and also for the week that they would be here. And I finally nailed it. Well, I felt like I had. And unfortunately, there's been an outbreak of COVID in Sydney, in New South Wales, and in certain hotspots. And unfortunately, they'd actually been to one of the hotspots. So to travel interstate, they have to go through all sorts of requirements, and because of health issues, they've been quarantined both ends, and who knows how long they'd end up stuck here without David's mum's normal doctor, so they've had to cancel. So our day that was planned with the family, etc., was cancelled 2 days ago. So it's just David and I now, and Millie, and it's a whole different Christmas. So I, redid the menu just for us two because there's really no need to have all the food that I planned for when his family were coming up. So probably a good thing that I did, because yesterday when I braved the shops, it was only 8 o'clock in the morning, but the shops were so busy. It was unbelievable how many people were there, and also unbelievable how many things had sold out. So the things that I was going to make, like a pork stuffed loin roast, all of those had sold out. So I had to sort of rethink everything and rethink what we were going to have sort of on the spur of the moment, because we weren't prepared that actual things would have sold out. And we went to a few supermarkets, but the story was the same. One of the weirdest things that I think that had sold out was gingerbread, which is not really that popular in Australia, because usually their heat makes them sort of sag and get very humid, and they go very soft, and they're not sort of crispy on the outside if you leave them out. But unlike in Europe, where it's lovely and cold and you can have your gingerbread houses and no problems at all. But for some reason, the weather has gone haywire here, and it's gone from being incredibly humid to actually being a bit cool. And the other day, I actually had a jumper on. That was followed by a day where it was sweltering hot. And then now, on Christmas Day, there's showers predicted, and it's not hot, and it's quite cool. I thought we'd be sitting outside by the pool, but I think we'll be inside having a hot lunch, which is very unusual in Australia for Christmas, and especially up here in the subtropics where I live, where it's normally warm and very humid at this time of year. So I thought, because of this weather change, we could actually have gingerbread little cookies. And I want to say gingerbread men because that's what I'm used to saying, but I think nowadays we call it gingerbread people. I'm not sure. Anyway, I know I have one of those gingerbread cutters somewhere, but I could not find it. So I went to the shops and looked online, and would you believe that gingerbread cutters were all sold out? I ended up going to a specialty cake shop that we have in the area, which was really good. I'd never been there, and we've been here for 2 years now, and this place had so many things. It was unbelievable. It's like a baker's paradise. But they only had one gingerbread cutter left, so I snapped that up and made a gingerbread dough last night. I'm going to roll it out this morning and make those little gingerbread cookies, and hopefully they won't go soggy, and hopefully the day will continue as it is now. Been quite cool actually, not cool enough for a jumper, but quite cool for Australia on Christmas Day. So when we thought David's family were coming up, we spent ages trying to fix up the renovations that we hadn't done, and we were so hot running around, and it was really humid in that time, and covered in paint and plaster and you name it. And as soon as we found out that they had cancelled and that the borders had closed down, we've gone on a bit of a go slow because we were so hot and so humid. So we're hoping to, get it finished, but without all the stress and worry that they're coming up, and we needed to get it done by lunchtime today. So hopefully we will get it done, and without that really stress and the heat. It was unbearable. So I'd love to know what you're doing for Christmas, if you celebrate, like if you're having a hot lunch or if you're going somewhere. I know it's very hard in most places in the world to be going somewhere, but if you're having family or friends over or whatever you're doing, it'll be just us two today and Millie. I was going to get Mill a little Christmas present, but that cat is so hard to buy for. I really didn't know what to get her because she never plays with anything I buy her, and the only thing she likes is the cardboard little cubby house thing I bought her, and that's the only thing that she likes to sit in, so I gave up. And David and I don't give Christmas presents, so it's a bit of a sad tree here today, but that's okay. Last night we went out and had a look at the Christmas lights in the area, and some people have gone to a lot of trouble. They've done all sorts of displays, and it's just amazing. There were two that were really amazing, where three houses had joined together and they were covered in lights, and you could go in and they had all sorts of interactive things for the kids to play with, and yeah, just fascinating. They must have 10,000 lights. And that sound that you can hear is Millie getting out of her cubby house. And wanting to have a chat with you. She might sing you a song, you never know. Put her on purr alert. But so we looked at the lights, and I think we'll have to get some next year and be a bit of a joiner. But people spend so long putting these lights, so I don't know if I'd have the inclination, but they certainly were great. And there were so many kids walking up to the lights and families stopping off to see and go in and have a look. And often in Sydney they'd have ice cream vans selling things, but I guess because of, the current health crisis, that those things don't happen, or maybe they just don't do that here in Brisbane. Not really sure. But what I was stunned about was how many things had been bought out for Christmas. So it makes me think that everyone is planning a big day today, maybe to, have the parties, etc., that they've missed out on through the year. So I know in most places in the world it's not as good as what we've got it here in Queensland, Australia. So I'm really thinking of everyone that is in self-isolation or doesn't have the ability to see the family and friends and hasn't for a while. I hope everyone is doing okay. It's such a challenging mentally and emotional time for so many people, especially at this time of year. So I hope everyone is doing okay. And if you ever want someone to chat to or just to listen and or a shoulder, you know I'm here. You can message me on Facebook. Unless I'm asleep, I'm usually available and usually near my phone. So as well as the Christmas prep, oh that's right. So because they're not coming now, I'm going to make a Biscoff cheesecake. So it's those little Biscoff biscuits and you make them in individual little jars. I think it's going to be nice. They're Belgian biscuits and you crush them all up and it's kind of like a unstructured cheesecake. I think it'll be nice and it's pretty easy to make. Just need to get it going and get it setting in the fridge so that we can have it. So I'll be making that today for dessert and dieting tomorrow. So as well as running around for all the Christmas stuff and going to so many shops and then actually not needing it now because they're not coming, I've been working in the garden, so you know that was going to happen. So all my zinnias are out at the moment. I've got some that are called Green Envy and they've got like a lime green petal on them or a lime peel if you're into Prismacolors, and they're really nice and I definitely think I'll get more of those seeds next year and put them in more places because they're really unusual to have the green flower on them. I really like them. I've also got some beautiful red ones and some ones that are two-coloured as well, so they're really pretty. And next year, because I know now that they work here, I'll get my little gardening diary out and write down where to put them next year because I've been keeping track of the best places to plant them. I like doing those sorts of little experiments in the garden. And if you've got any time over Christmas, there are a ton of freebies that artists have been giving away during this period. So Kanako Agasa, she's given away so many free pages, just really beautiful art. I usually post about them on my Facebook page, but sometimes I don't keep up with all of them, depending if I'm plastering a wall or painting something and I miss it. But there are so many beautiful pieces of artwork being given away for Christmas. It's just lovely. So if you get bored and you want to relax and just take it easy over the Christmas period, there's all those gorgeous freebies, but you will need a printer to print them out. And so most of the things that I've ordered online for Christmas, they all turned up, but I ordered an awning for our balcony. I ordered it back in December and the mail has been so slow, so I thought I'd give them a lot of leeway, and the tracking hadn't updated for weeks, so I rang them twice, see where my awning was because it was meant to be here on the 9th of December, and of course it's been lost. And so now they're sending me another one. But I guess the good thing is because of this cool change, I don't really need it at the moment, so I guess it all works out. If it had been stinking hot today, I would have been really missing my awning. But the postage, etc., this year has just been unbelievable. I think I was reading in a Facebook group the other day that there's 16,000 UPS employees that are off sick at the moment, and with so many people ordering online and then the usual e-commerce Q4 where everything gets really busy from September onwards, people ordering Christmas stuff, that so many packages are delayed. It's just unbelievable. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is a lot of our favourite Etsy artists, they sell their artwork on Etsy, and due to the world crisis and quarter 4 and everything, a lot of their packages are going astray, and they're having to give out refunds to people, and people are leaving bad reviews. And I just want to say that they have no control over what happens to the package when it leaves them. It's up to the mail carrier, and that's who they've got their contract with. But the delays in all these distribution centres from all the groups that I'm in are just horrendous. There are things that have been in there for months and just not moving because of the lack of staff and whatnot. And so the poor Etsy sellers are bearing the brunt of things that are basically beyond their control. So if you do have a package coming from Etsy, keep track of the tracking. If there's an option to purchase tracking at an extra expense, I'd certainly do that. Depending on where you are in the world, these things are either offered or they're not offered. And, only after you've spoken to the seller and they've tried to track down the package for you, would I think about leaving a complaint. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it really is beyond their control. And a lot of sellers on Etsy are actually refusing to sell to some places now due to the high level of refunds and the high level of complaints. There's Millie. Go away, Millie. Go on, off the picture. Due to the high level of complaints that they receive, which really affects their shop rankings on Etsy, like how many people can find them. And it's not their fault. They can't control where these packages go. They can't make them appear any quicker. They can't clear customs any quicker. So just try and be a little bit patient. I know it's hard, and I've had packages that are delayed and lost as well, so I really know how you're feeling. But at the moment, these are times like no other, and we've just got to all learn to be a little bit more patient. So I know several artists have decided not to sell or ship to Australia anymore, which I think is a real shame, but I really do understand how they feel. When you have to refund shipping and whatnot because things go astray, and then often the book turns up later, but people don't tell them, and so they're really losing money. And there's not a lot of money in selling books to start with, so it makes it very difficult for them to want to sell. So luckily there's usually more than one way to get a book, and often you can use a mail forwarding service or ask someone in that country to send it to you if you have friends. And the great thing about the colouring community is that we're all spread out all over the world, so you might be able to find somebody in a country that can forward a book on to you. So there's usually little ways around it, So when I bought a Rees book the other day, because Amazon Japan have geo-blocked Australia and I wanted to use my gift card because otherwise it will expire, I just used a Japanese on-forwarding company, and it did cost me quite a bit, but I didn't have to pay for the book because I had a gift card to use, so kind of evened out. And there are some sellers on Etsy that are selling colouring books, especially from our favourite Asian artists, and they're posting them to Australia. But at the moment, because Japan Air is not posting to Australia, you have to go through other services like DHL, so it is a lot more expensive. But again, they are not in control over what the postal services are doing at the moment, and the backlog of actual parcels out there. So who knows? Maybe you've got a present and it's stuck in some big postal pit at the moment, and it might be a great New Year's present. So other than preparing for Christmas and whatnot and renovating around the house, we haven't done a lot. We've had a few dips in the pool, which has been good, but I tend to float around on my back and look at all the things that need to be done in the garden while I'm there. So sometimes it's not very relaxing. We did buy these lovely little pool toy things from Aldi supermarket. They're a pool hammock. So they're like a lilo, but they've got mesh under them so that you get actual water on you, so you're not laying on top of the plastic thing. And they are so comfortable because it's like you're lying in a little hammock of water with a little pillow. You could easily fall asleep out there, but you wouldn't want to do that because you'd get sunburnt. So I coloured some of this off camera so that I could complete the whole picture in this one setting. So I basically just did everything the same as you've seen in the earlier part of it. And now I'm just going to come back and fill in all those gaps and add some more darker shading to it. I've got to say their Schiffer farbens really hold their point for a really good time, and they're very easy to work with. Kind of wish I didn't choose such a fiddly picture to colour because seeing these little itty bitty lines without my glasses on is a little bit difficult. And so yesterday when we went up to the shops, David went up earlier and his car broke down, would you believe it, right just before Christmas. So now we're back to one car and he's trying to figure out from YouTube videos and forums what on earth is wrong with it. So he had to abandon it at the car park and I had to go and pick him up. But luckily we had the other car to pick him up, but I was in the garden and didn't hear him calling for ages to come and pick him up. So wouldn't you know it, just before Christmas, something happens. But hopefully he'll get it sorted. He hates working on cars, but hopefully it's an easy fix and something that, he can sort out. So after I finish this, I'm going to make a batch of gingerbread men. I made the dough last night and I've got it in the fridge sort of cooling down, and I used up half of it and then I'll use up the other half today and make another little batch so that they're nice and crispy for the day. And then I'll get started cooking lunch and making that cheesecake, and I think today we'll just hang out and watch a few movies and not really do anything around the house or do anything at all really. I think we'll just hang loose. So the movies I want to watch are Notting Hill. I always like that. No, Love Actually. Love Actually. I get them confused all the time. I don't know why. And David wants to watch one of those National Lampoon's Christmas. And I really want to watch an Australian movie that's been released this year. It's called A Sunburnt Christmas, and it's kind of an Australian take on Christmas. And it's won awards and people talk about it all the time, so I figure we'll give it a go and see if we like it or not. Sometimes I get into a movie and I'm only 5 minutes in and I'm already, no, it's not for me. And we finished watching The Big Bang Theory. We've watched it twice, back to back. We watched the entire 12 seasons, and then because we liked it so much, we just went straight back to episode 1 and started again. And we finished that like a day or two before Christmas, which is really sad. Now here's the finished Christmas tree, and I'm going to pop some different coloured glaze on it. It's a blue glaze, and I've had it for a while, but I don't really use glitters and glazes and whatnot, but I thought I would this time. And it's like a light blue, and it produces a 3D element to it, so when you see this in person it's actually raised up, but it doesn't really show that well on video. And because it's a light blue colour, it's got like a little tint, so when you hold it up it has that little 3D look. Now I did pop off screen some little white Posca dots on it with, actually not Posca, with my Molotow white pen. And I don't know what it is, but every time I do little white dots I really don't like it, and I always feel like they're too forced and that they don't look organic and natural like other people's that I see. So what I normally do is I pick it off with my fingernail because I don't like leaving it there and I just feel like I've done it wrong. So maybe one day I'll learn the art of the white dot on the paintings, but until then I think I'll go with my system of putting it on and seeing if I like it, and if not, it comes off with the fingernail. It gets a big scraping. So I just have done this randomly to all of the tree and added a bit more of the dark green in so that there's a little bit more contrast. So that's it from me. I hope you all have a lovely Christmas or a happy holidays or whatever you might celebrate, or just enjoy the day if you don't celebrate at all. I wish you all the very best for the year, and I'd love to hear about how your day is wherever you are in the world. And until next time, stay safe and happy colouring.